Joining me now is Indiana Republican Congressman Marlin Sussman to talk more about this and other issues. And I promise we're not going to spend the whole time talking about Jeffrey Epstein, but I do want to ask you about this. President Trump's tried to dismiss the Epstein files as a hoax, but the Oversight Committee, led by Congressman Comer, says that more files are going to be coming out despite the pushback from the White House. Do your constituents want to see more? Or are they asking for more transparency?
They're asking for more transparency. Is it the top of mind issue for constituents? It's not. But at the same time, it goes back to a matter of trust. You know, can we trust our government? And I think that's where this really stems from. And I think that this is such a complicated case, unfortunately, where you have a lot of victims that need to be protected. But at the same time, we also need to be sure that justice is brought to those who harm those victims as well. So I think that the House leadership and the chairman of the Oversight Committee is handling this properly. It's like, let's make sure that we don't rush ahead and hurt people in the process, but actually be methodical about it.
So to that point, do you agree with some of your Republican colleagues that this discharge petition should come to the floor and there should be a vote to compel the Department of Justice to release everything they have on the case?
I don't agree on the discharge petition, but I do believe that we're going to get there and we're going to get the answers. You know, let the Oversight Committee do their work and they'll get the answers. I mean, this is a serious issue that we're all taking very seriously. And I think that Chairman Comer is doing handling it appropriately and making sure that it's he's careful as he walks through this process.
All right, let me show you what Congressman Tom Massey said about your point as it relates to the discharge petition, which he's championing. Take a listen. Oh, we don't have a soundbite. Okay, but basically, what Congressman Massey is concerned about is that you need this backup, this kind of forcing mechanism to compel the Department of Justice to do this, because there could be an opportunity where the Department of Justice just kind of piecemeals information out and you don't get the full picture. Does that concern you at all, that you need to hold the Department of Justice accountable?
I mean, yes, we do need to hold them accountable. And I do think that the process, it's playing out. It's just taking longer than what we had all hoped that it would. Information continues to come forward. Again, as I said, Chairman Comer is really the one. I mean, they're both from Kentucky. They're both good friends. This is an issue that Congressman Massey has spearheaded, but at the same time, Chairman Comer has he has better access to more information, and of course the Speaker of the House has access to information. And so it's a team effort. While they may not always agree on the call, I think that the Speaker of the House is making the right calls and moving forward carefully.
Okay, let's talk about government funding now. We're just 9 legislative days away from September 30th. It seems unlikely that you can get a full appropriations package done. Do you support a continuing resolution to keep this process moving?
I do, because we don't want to shut the government down under these circumstances. And again, I mean, we don't have to. For a lot of us budget hawks, I sit on the Budget Committee, a CR, it's not the worst thing in the world, because we need to at least freeze spending, control spending. And, what we've seen with this administration is that they're finding ways that we can cut and trim the budget down. $37 trillion of debt is not sustainable. $1 trillion in debt service every year is more than just as much as our military spends. So something has to change. And so if a CR is what it takes to get us to finding more savings and let this economy grow, I think is the right call.
So in order to do that, though, you need Democrats in the Senate to come along. And it's unlikely Democrats are going to agree to the type of spending cuts that you're talking about. What is it going to take to create that bipartisan deal that sustains the government funding stream for an indefinite amount of time, as opposed to these 3-month increments that you guys are going through now?
Well, I think that's why a CR is actually probably the solution, because it's something that they voted for. Not all of them. Some of them have voted for.
But that only gets you through maybe to November, or?
I mean, there's some talk about doing a year-long CR and actually just going out again one more year at the current levels. And I would seriously consider that. We'll walk through this process again. It's going to take a little bit more time as leadership looks at all the options that we have working with the White House. But from a budget standpoint, I think that a CR makes sense because at the end of the day, we don't want to get ourselves into a position where we have more spending and we're not fixing the problem that many of us ran for office to do, and that's to fix the federal budget.
So in that vein, I want to ask you about the Affordable Care Act tax credits, which is kind of split the Republican Party right now. Democrats absolutely want to see that extended. There are some of your House Republican colleagues, especially some in frontline districts, that believe that they should be extended as well. You call yourself a budget hawk.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you stand on these tax credits? Should it be part of a negotiation?
From a broader sense, I understand why it may be part of the negotiation. I would like to see it repealed. Right now, in fact, this is going to be a big issue for us, Ryan. I mean, Part of our budget problems is just our whole healthcare industry. I mean, whether it's the insurance side, whether it's the service side, we're going to have to tackle this at some point. It's just, again, it's not sustainable. It's the fastest growing item in our budget that we're going to have to deal with. And so I believe that, we're learning more and more that these subsidies are just strictly coming out of taxpayer pockets and going to, to other taxpayers. And this is where, we're starting to see this, redistricting is an issue that's coming out. And that's another issue where we're seeing states like California, New York, Illinois taking advantage of programs compared to a state like Indiana. I mean, Indiana, we're very self-sufficient. We work together. We find solutions. We work with the federal government. Of course, healthcare is a part of our system as well that we have to work through. But to see a state taking advantage of other states is something that has to stop.
Okay, let's talk now about redistricting. You said earlier this week that you were helping support a mid-decade redrawing of Indiana's congressional maps after a conversation with your governor. Mike Braun, of course, was a senator up here not too long ago.
Yeah.
The governor himself really hasn't weighed in on this yet. What's his take on it from your conversations?
Well, I don't know what his take is necessarily. I've not talked directly to the governor about it. But have talked to other state legislators, have talked to folks in the administration here in D.C. But here's what's happened. We've seen this same situation go from states like California taking advantage of they're a sanctuary state. Indiana's not a sanctuary state. Illinois, all you have to do is look at the Illinois map and look at the Indiana map, and you can see there's a big difference in the way that the maps were drawn. So, we're not a sanctuary state. Those who are here illegally have been counted in the census, and now we're finding out that those numbers are huge. Just from Illinois to Indiana, we've had over 100,000 Illinoisans move to the Hoosier State in the past several years because they're leaving bad policy, coming to where they know that they can, raise their family safely and they don't have to worry about the crime that's going on in Chicago.
But I understand your point of view on this. Perhaps maybe you feel like you've been incorrectly counted in the census, but why do it mid-decade? I mean, isn't that what we're breaking norms here? I mean, California, every time they've redistricted, it's been during that 10-year process, which the Constitution affords to redistrict. I think it's the mid-decade part that's at least part of what the complaints are surrounded by.
Well, I mean, other states have been required to redraw their maps. I mean, this is the one responsibility the state legislature has is to draw the maps for the U.S. House of Representatives congressional districts, and to realize that, we have states like Illinois, California, New York that drew their maps to favor Democrats. There's no doubt. I mean, Massachusetts has 9 districts, and they don't have one single Republican. We have 9 districts in Indiana. If you let a kindergarten class draw the maps, you'd probably end up with 9 Republicans.
Okay. Congressman Marlin Seltzman, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
You bet.